and I'm never going to get used to that countdown.
The one and then the on. But at least there's a little bit of an intro today.
True.
Yeah.
True. We actually have somewhat of an intro. We're getting there, guys. What is this, episode 4?
4.
4. So we've been doing this for a month, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One whole month. What how many think, like, a month is a long time in some respects, I guess.
Mm.
Well, it isn't, I guess.
Yeah,
at
if
the
you
same
could
time.
say if it's a month away over 4 weeks, I don't know. Does it sound like a long time?
Either.
I don't know.
I don't know. If you're wondering who I am, by the way, guys, yes, it is me. I don't have any hair on my face and I look like a little child. So this is going to be a very clean episode. No cursing. No, nothing, because I am an underaged little boy, I guess. I had an accident with a shaver. I had a nice creepy mustache. I had the creepy kind of mustache where it looks like I'd hide in the bushes. I was really into it. And then I was like, oh, it's uneven. So I went to go do it last night and like trim it up. And then the cat jumped up on the counter and scared me. And I went, room. And then I couldn't just have half a stash. So I had to even it out. I got a lot of crap from I work with all women in my job. Yeah. I'm the only boy. And do you think every single one of those girls made a comment about the fact that I look like I am 12?
Yes.
Yes. They were I walked in, they were like squeezing cheeks, like, who's this little boy? And I'm like, oh God. So yes, it is I am very depressed about it, but this time next week when we record the show, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have a full face of hair again, so it'll be fine. I am very sad though.
Well, how's your week been? Or before we get into that, should we press the number, see if we've got to think about this question? So today's number 305. We're right down the bottom this time.
305. Whoa.
305. Where are we? What's something you were really into as a kid?
Well,
Oh.
Something that something that I was very into as a child. I'll take it to music. I was very into the Black Eyed Peas. I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
They were my favorite as a kid. Like you remember the album, People That Love Music? I don't know if you will remember this album, but you remember not their first album, but their first album with Fergie, which was Ellie Funk.
Yes, I do.
It was like 2002 or 3 it came out. I was a young kid. Would have been 8, something like that.
Was on that one.
Yeah, that was on that album. They had a song, I'll never forget it to this day. I actually appreciate it a lot more as an adult than I do as a kid. They had a song with Papa Roach.
Okay.
And it was called Anxiety. And I was like, as a kid, you're just like, whatever. But as an adult, you're like, wait a minute. What is Papa Roach doing with the Black Eyed Peas? I went to a Black Eyed Peas. That was my first concert. Was a Black Eyed Peas concert. Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Let's go. Black Eyed Peas, no. Ooh, not anymore.
I could give you 1,000 guesses at my first concert and you would not pick it.
Well, you said you like country music, didn't you?
It was not country.
Oh, so I'm assuming it's something like pop girly. Like I feel like it's like so you're not that much older than me. So I'm gonna make an obscure guess and say it's like Kelly Clarkson.
You went the right way. It was in a circus. It was Britney.
Oh, you went to Britney? I'd kind of like to go to Britney. What is Britney like as a live act? I couldn't imagine it would be amazing.
Well, she was doing acrobatics and stuff, but she was definitely lip syncing.
Oh yeah.
Every now and then she'd talk to the crowd, but then they wouldn't turn her microphone off while she was singing, and you'd hear like.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Okay, Britney Spears is a very interesting topic, isn't she? Because of she's had a very interesting life. I'll put it that way. Have you ever gotten into all the stuff with Britney and watched any of the documentaries and that about like the stuff with her dad and all of that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I have, and I went deep into it because I was like, this is fascinating. I'm not really someone that cares about Britney Spears all that much. I'm going to put that out there, but. When you just get into something and you're like, oh, I can't get out until I learn everything that I possibly can about this
Yeah.
situation. That's what I was like with that conservatorship thing, and like how she was owned by her dad and her sister and her mum and all these, just she was making money, but it was going to her dad, and she wasn't really allowed to go out and do it. It's a whole thing. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but she's now out of it, and now like she kind of seems a little bit off her chain still. With just like, there's a lot of stuff that she posts that you're like, whoa, rightfully she's been through a lot in her life. But Britney Spears, was it the Circus tour? Is that what it was? That album?
It was the Circus tour. Yeah.
Oh my God, Britney's. I've been to Pink. Pink was a good time. She had a lot of like acrobat. I went with my mum because my mum was just like, someone come with me, and I was like, are you going to pay for it? Sure, I'll come along. I don't really like Pink all that much, but like, that's a great live show. Like 10 out of 10 for just like the visual of it, and just the fact that she can sing and do all those fucking things with the trapeze, and it's crazy what she can do. And she like goes right out into the crowd on all these like things. It's insane. Yeah, I've been to Pink. I've been to Black Eyed Peas. I've been to Paramore multiple times. I like. Are you what's the word? Just a constant goer. You someone that's like, I love going to like live music. I haven't done it in so long.
I love live music. I love going to see live music. And to your point, I think there's a difference between like your favorite concert you've ever been to and like the best show you've seen when the act doesn't come into it. Because if you go on the best show I've seen, it's Bruno Mars. That guy just pumps energy. Like, I would fly anywhere in Australia to see him again. And I'm like, not the biggest Bruno fan, but I would fly to see him again because he was so good. And then there's like Ed Sheeran, who's like good because it's Ed Sheeran. Taylor Swift is, a massive Swiftie.
You love Tay. She's been getting busy this week, hasn't she, with Travis Kelce, and that's all happening.
Can't wait for the new album.
Went to. Yeah, she's.
No, she doesn't have one.
When
they're coming.
To be fair, she does have a new Taylor's version coming out next month.
Yeah.
1989, which I've stated multiple times is the best Taylor Swift album. But no, everyone's been talking about those two. I from her perspective, I get it. He's a very attractive man. From his perspective, I also get it because Taylor's a very attractive woman.
Yeah.
So interesting pairing though. I did not know who this man was before this week. I'll put it that way.
I did. And have you seen those TikTok videos of like wives going to their husbands? Oh, this Travis Kelce's like really got famous overnight, hasn't he? And they're like, no, he's famous before that. And they're like, nah, it's because of Taylor. And they're like, no.
Girl, I'm with you. I didn't know who this man was. I had to ask someone how to pronounce his last name. I was like, well, how do you say his last name? But is he like, I don't know anything about American. He's an American football player, right?
Yeah, very famous American footballer.
Is he like a quarterback or something?
No. So he plays, his position's tight end, so he catches the ball.
I'll say.
He catches the ball, but he also is big enough to block in like a basic way. So he's a big old boy that likes to hit people, and
he's a big lad. I'll give him that. He's a big boy.
But he'd be like,
so are they bumping and humping? What's going on here, or are they just hanging out?
I don't really know.
Good for them.
Yeah, why
not?
Good
for them, I guess.
Do what you do.
You want.
Yeah.
They would have so much money between them. Oh my God.
Yes. I think, well, I don't know what one of the players on his team signed a 10-year contract for $500 million. So that's how much money is getting around that sport.
Yeah, and then Taylor Swift, should have a couple of bucks.
Yeah, she wouldn't be short of money, would she?
No. She's just selling out like the biggest freaking stadiums in the world on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah.
So she is someone I don't necessarily care about, but I would like to see her live because I feel like it would be more about the
spectacle?
Atmosphere of a Taylor Swift show. And listen, I'm not one of those people that are like Taylor Swift, you know those people that are just constantly like, oh, she has terrible music. There's nothing good about her. I'm like, calm down, all right? She has some bops. I'm not saying I'm a biggest Taylor Swift fan in the world, but like, she's probably one of the most successful pop acts ever. So there's no arguing with that kind of bullshit. But yeah, good for her and her new man.
Yeah, if they are. We don't want to assume, but we're going to assume. Why not?
Yeah,
Be
why
tabloid
not?
reporters for a couple of hours.
Yeah, why not? I'm down for it. Spread all the Hollywood goss, all that.
How's your week been? Your weekend, your week?
What really was this? Watched a bunch of football. It's grand final week. So that was the weekend. Really, I can't really think of why can't I. Oh, because so I have. I when you think you're getting sick, so then you're like, I'm gonna stay home and like let me just like sleep this off. Like Sunday, that's all I really did was just kind of like hang out. I streamed for a hot minute on my Twitch, and then I was like, I don't feel that great. Let's just like lay on the couch. I watched a bunch of Malcolm in the Middle, which I'm binging at the moment. And I just kind of like wasted a couple of days because I thought I was getting sick. I wasn't sick. Unless I was just exhausted. But yeah, I really didn't do anything of interest this week. We talked a little over the week, because we did say last week at the end of the episode that, well, probably WWE are coming to Perth, and they are, so we had to do a little bit of chatting to be like, what's the go with this? Because we got to get this organised.
Yeah.
We're obviously going, people. If you know us, we're definitely going. But we're like, are we going to go together, or are we not going to go together? Me and Ray are going to go together, so I don't know, maybe we'll do like a live episode from the hotel,
Yeah,
one of those travel episodes, in whenever it is, February. So, I guess that's really all that's big that's happened this week in my life.
I can relate with the feel like you're getting sick. So I had Rory over the weekend, and he was sick on Friday, and he's got a bit of like asthma, and it's like called bronchial asthma. So like when he gets sick, it goes straight to his chest, and he gets really coughy. And then when he's sick, and even when he's not sick, like if he wakes up during the night, he just comes and gets me and brings me to his bed. So then I have to share a bed with him. So all weekend when he woke up, I'd go into his bed and he would just power cough into my face. So like whatever he's got, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to come down with this. So like all week I've been like, I feel like I'm getting sick. Like I'm going to wake up one morning and it's going to be all over. And this morning I woke up feeling rubbish, but that sort of went away by about 10. But yeah, I know the feeling. But
I hate getting sick, and I'm a little bitch when I'm sick too. I am a bitch. I am the worst. I think the world is going to end. I want everyone to wait on me hand and foot. I'm like, come on. Like, I'm sick. I act like the first person that's ever been sick in the world. I know I'm horrible for it, but ugh, yikes.
I'm not. I try to pretend I'm not sick all the time. And I'm like, it has to be really, really bad for me to go to the doctor. Like,
oh, I don't go to the doctor.
I don't know if you've... we were actually talking about it on the project on Monday night because we were watching the Brownlow while we were recording, and the Gather Round highlights come up. And I don't know if you know the story of Gather Round for me, but I was only going to Gather Round on the Sunday with Cream, and I was going to meet the other guys from the project there. And I woke up on Sunday morning of Gather Round, and my girlfriend was like, is your face twitching? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't think so. And she was like, look at me. And literally one half of my face was like paralyzed. It wasn't blinking. It wasn't moving.
Oh, God.
It was like just stuck. And she was like, that is not good. You need to see someone. I'm like, but I'm going to the footy. So I went to the footy, and I went there and I met up with Cream and all the other guys. And I said to Cream, oh, just so you know, my face isn't working today. He's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, looked at me and he's like, oh my God, you're not blinking with one eye. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably be fine. So everyone we've seen that day, I was like, oh, just so like my face isn't working. And they're like, what? You need to be going to the doctor. I'm like, no, it's fine. It'll be fine. the next morning, I went to work and I was like, I'm going home because I'm going to go to the doctor's. But I had to come in first because my face isn't working. It's like, what? I might have a look, like, I can't blink or move like this side of my face. And they're like, why did you come in here? You need to go to the doctor's. And I was like, if I had have rang you and said, I'm not coming in today, my face isn't working, you would have thought I was lying and that I was just pulling a sickie. But yeah, it turns out I had Bell's palsy, which apparently is quite common. You just get like a swelling in your neck back here from a virus and it like shuts down half your face. And I didn't blink for about a week, but then I was fine. It was all good.
Oh, well, I'm glad it was a happy ending. Holy shit. What the hell? If I would have seen you at the football that week, I'm like, I'm going to personally drive you to the hospital.
It was
I'm
fine.
like, what the hell? Oh my God. It's like cooked as. What the shit?
I've had a stroke before
wild.
already, so I'm like, it doesn't... I knew it wasn't that,
Jesus.
so I'm like... I know what that's like.
Oh my
so
God.
I'm like, it's fine.
Holy shit. All right. That's a lot of information to take in, but I'm
Yeah.
glad you're all right. But wow. By the way, Brownlow, for all the football fans here, my favorite bit of the Brownlow is the bits in between the actual, like, you know, when they like recap all the rounds and there's like the tunes are playing. I'm like, yeah, like I remember where I was when I watched this, and then like the gather round one, and then they talked about that round with Sydney and like all of it. And I was just like, oh, I love football. Like I froth footy. Everyone knows that. It's just, I don't know, you get to this time of the year, every year I do it, and I'm just like, oh, it's so sentimental. And I'm like, what a great round, what a great year, what a great season, you know, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I love Brownlow. I know a lot of people complain about it, like, oh, this person. I'm like, I couldn't give two craps. Like, I just watch it and enjoy it, and I don't know, I like it. There's something about it.
Yeah, it's the most, like, I regard it as, like, the most boring thing that you can't take your eyes off of. Like,
because it's really boring, because it's just them reading out names for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And you're like, why am I watching this? But it's fascinating.
But you can't take your eyes off of it.
It's so fascinating. And the way, like, it's so monotonous. It's just like one tone. And then it's the pause before they say someone that might win. And then it's just like, oh, okay. And then it's just, I don't get it either. But it's fucking awesome.
Correct. I agree. But, yeah, so that was basically my week.
Yeah, we really haven't had that interesting of weeks. Hopefully the next week is.
I took Rory to the Space Museum on Sunday morning and did all the space stuff, and he loved it, and you know, just all that.
Kids love that crap.
Yeah, no, it was very
I
interactive.
did that shit as a kid. Is that the ones where you can put like your hands on those things and they make your hair go all crazy?
No, no,
one of those museums.
No, so this one had like a working sort of replica almost of the Mars rover, and you could like
hell yeah,
drive it along and pick up different tools to look at stuff that was on a screen, but it would like move around.
Yeah.
He thought he was driving the Mars rover, and then there was
exactly
other stuff like bouncing lasers and stuff, and.
Yeah, weirdly enough, like, I think I went through a stage, I'm like, why would you want to go to a museum? Like, boring. But that's just fun. That shit is really fun. Museums are fun. Great date ideas, too. Don't underrate a museum on, like, a date idea. If you're trying to, anyone listening to thinking, like, what can I do for, like, a nice date? Take someone to a museum.
Yeah, I'm a fan of an arcade.
It takes a long time. Like, I love an arcade, except I'm very competitive. So, like, you got to be, like, comfortable. It's not, like, a first date thing for me. Like, that and bowling.
Yeah.
I'm so too competitive that you got to know me enough to be like, all right, like, he's being a piece of shit. But, like, we like him. So, I love an arcade. Oh, my God. I love an arcade.
Maybe we need to go bowling to an arcade then. See the real sides of each other.
I don't know if you'll like me anymore. You might not do this show with me anymore. I get like, I'm a sulky, like I'll find every excuse in the book of why I lost something.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I'm like the opposite as well. I'm like, yeah, well, it is what it is.
Don't play video games with me. It depends on the game, but like any kind of Mario Party, Mario Kart game, bitch. I'm just so into it. Like, I'm fun, but also, like, when I've had enough.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, so the museum was fun. Did all that sort of dad stuff.
Just dad stuff.
And then
Such a dad. Now you're sick because of your kid. It's just dad stuff.
That's dad stuff. Like, they just childcares and stuff is just an incubator for sickness. So
I have people at work that have their kids in childcare, obviously, so they can go to work and bullshit like that. And the amount of times they're sick in the time period of like 6 months, the amount of different types of colds and gastro and just everything you can think of, they're just sick every few weeks because it's just... Because you just have to, like... I'm like, why would you send your kid to childcare sick? You're like, you don't understand. It's just a vicious cycle. Sometimes you just have to go, well, you're going because this kid has got this and this kid's got this, so what's this going to do? Like, it's just... immune systems, and then, it's just... like I am, again, very happily without children.
Yeah. So, you know what else I was thinking about? Let's just turn this into a full-on kid stuff podcast. Since what's the thing you really were into as a kid? Like what we were into as kids. Do you know what I noticed? I was talking about today. When you're a kid, $20 seemed like so much money. Mm-hmm. But now I go through so much of it. I'm like. You can talk about $500 now without being like, oh, it's a lot of money, but like...
It's not.
It's not in the scheme of things. Like...
It does not take much to spend $500.
No, I'm not going to tell everyone how much I earn, but if I was a 10-year-old kid and I told my 10-year-old self how much money my work gives me every 2 weeks, it would blow his little dick off. It would be like...
mine would be... out of this fucking world. Because remember, like, when you were like, let's just say 10, just for argument's sake, but like, if your nan gave you $10,
oh yeah,
you were like, oh my god, someone take me to Woolworths, I'm about to have a field day, and get like lollies and
I'm
drinks.
about to have diabetes. Exactly.
Yeah, literally. And it was the greatest day ever. Like $10, like, I can go buy lunch at McDonald's and get all this stuff. Or like, I can go to Target or Kmart and like buy all my favorite. I know it's like, no pun intended, but apples to oranges comparing what we were like as kids to now.
Yeah.
Because, things are just so much more expensive. But I think it's just because you're an adult and you're like $10. You're like, okay, it's going to get me an apple and a...
Exactly.
You got to pay for all different... It's just different things that you have to be focused on when you're a kid. Like, if I got $20 now, I'm like, do I just blow that $20 on absolutely nothing? Do I put it away? Do I put it onto a bill? That's $20 off of a bill that I don't have to pay out of my next pay. It's like, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like money's value changes when you look at it over your life. The other thing I thought about, do you know what was underrated as a kid? Not having to think about what was for dinner. That is
I hate deciding what to eat. Oh.
Like, if you're deciding what you're going to eat for the week, it is impossible. So you got to take your hat off to your parents when you didn't think about it at all, but now you're like old enough to think about it. And
all the times that mum would be like, it's frozen pizza night. I never have like related to my mum more than when I get home from work and I'm like, it's frozen pizza night because I can't be bothered. Like, I cannot be bothered. Oh, pardon. But it's more so like, A, thinking of something to have to eat. B, being able to afford what you want to eat. C, having the energy to get home from work and then cook what you want to have to eat.
Correct.
It's just like a combination of the amount of times I'm just like, I'm just going to make fried rice on a Sunday because I know it will last me a few days. Some spaghetti because I know it will last me a few days. And I end up eating just the same stuff every week because, A, I can never think of anything. Like, I walked around in the shops after work tonight because I'm like, I need to get some stuff for dinner. And I just walked around aimlessly up the aisle. It's just like, what am I going to eat? So I just got a hot roast chook. Hot roast chook night. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. You got to, like, just... hope inspiration strikes and then just find something. But that is an unwanted stress that you don't get told about when you're a kid.
No, but it's like the age-old thing of like when you're a kid, all you want to be in as an adult, and all the adults say, no, you don't. And you're like, what are you talking about? It sounds amazing. You get money, you get a job, you don't have to go to school. I hated school, and I'd still go back to school in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
8:30 till 3, Monday to Friday. You get to see your friends every day. You have a schedule that's set for you. You get lunch every day. You get to have the weekends to yourself. Like, that sounds like an absolute dream.
Yeah, it really does. You get to now and you're like, I'm working 9 hours a day.
And I'm tired all the time. I'm constantly tired. Like
And
when
now
you're
I've
a
gotta go
kid.
get dinner.
Yeah, exactly. When you're a kid, there's nothing more exciting. You remember you just stay up all night because it was just fun. And you could just do it because you could go for 2 hours of sleep and then be fine the next day. If I stayed up even past like midnight is even calling it a stretch, by the way, but if I stayed up till midnight or later, I would be dead for like 3 days trying to get myself back into a pattern that's like normal for me. My body would just reject me.
Yeah.
As a kid though, remember when it would be like a task, like a mission, like, oh my God, my friends are staying over. Let's literally not sleep. Let's just stay up for 24 hours. Like as a kid, that was so fun. And just making sure your parents didn't find out that you was not getting any sleep. Like, I don't know. I had a fairly as a kid, not so much as a teenager, but as a kid, like my parents were fairly cool in the sense of like, if you're not bothering us, we don't give too much of a crap what you're doing. I wasn't a naughty kid. I just, you know what I mean? Like, you can go play in your room as long as you're not loud. That was the vibe my parents gave me. So if I had like a sleepover or something like that, as long as we weren't loud, we could stay up all night. And I used to do that with my friends. It was awesome. But could you imagine anything worse now than someone telling you have to be up for 24 hours straight?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, it's you just don't get it when you're a kid. And you don't get what your parents are saying to you either. You're like, oh, shut up. You don't know. But then they know.
Yeah.
Like,
and all this stuff, especially, were you like a teenager that was like rebellious, you know what I mean? Were you naughty I wasn't either. I was a pretty good kid. But you know all those things you did especially as a teenager when you're going your body's going all crazy and you thought you could get away with the things that you did because you're like, my parents wouldn't know because they're parents. I'm like, no, they did this when they were your age. And I'm like, oh, not until adult do you realize you're like, wait a minute. My parents did this when they were 16. They knew exactly what I was doing. They knew exactly that, what I was going through. But as a teenager, you're like, your parents are the lamest people in the world. You're like, they never did all this cool stuff that I'm doing. It is weird when you're an adult and you think about that. And you're like, wow, a lot of the stuff my mum said was correct.
Yeah. I think the funniest thing when I was a kid, when I look back at it now, so I would have been, I want to say like 13 or 14, so like a long time ago now. But it was like after school, we just had dinner and a girl from school rang me on the home phone because no mobiles back then. So a girl from school rang me on the home phone and my dad answered and she was like, can I speak to Ray? And he was like, yeah, okay. But she said her name. Now, I don't know if this makes me sound really old or like something else. I don't remember her name, so I can't say her name in this recount of the story. But Dad trying to, rev up 14-year-old me was like, ooh, who's such and such? And I, not thinking, just like a little bit embarrassed, a little bit shy, was like, oh, fuck off. Uh-oh. I've never dragged a conversation out so long in my mouth. like I was sat on the phone just like, so weather's nice.
Yeah.
Just dragging it out because I didn't want to face what was coming to me.
I remember the first time I ever swore in front of my parents and I just I was older. I would have been at least 16 before I said anything other than like, like fuck, basically, that and above. I just remember the look my mum gave me, and then just like she didn't say anything because I think in her brain she was trying to process like, is he old enough to do that yet, or
Yeah.
like, is it like still, is he still a kid? And my mum just kind of processing it was just like this awkward silence of just like, oh, if am I gonna get in trouble? I
Mm.
didn't get in trouble, and ever since then my mum's got a potty mouth worse than I do. So, but like, it is weird when you're that age because you're not allowed to do certain things, and it's just one day something changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, mine was like the main thing about mine was like it was at him. It was like it wasn't.
It wasn't even just like in just
Yeah, in
passing. It was just
conversation.
like yeah.
I'm not a big swearer in general, anyway. I just I just don't really. I don't have a problem with it or anything, but I just don't usually. I can
I am.
find other ways to make my words sound crass. But yeah, that one I was like, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh no, like trying to put the words
no.
back in my mouth.
You want to eat that sentence so fast, don't you, when you do stuff like that? Yeah, it's funny thinking about when you're like a teenager, especially being a teenager, because I remember stuff as a kid, but my parents got divorced like when I was like 11, 12, so like right before like all that started. And I didn't live with both of my parents from that. I lived with my dad for majority of my teenage life. I still see my mum, but I lived with my dad, and my siblings lived with my mum. So I basically was a teenager as an only child to a certain degree. Like, I still seen my siblings a lot. We just didn't live together. So it was just me and my dad and my grandpa. Like, we all lived together, and it was just kind of like, oh, and I won't get into stuff with my dad, but me and my dad didn't have the greatest of relationships. So, like, I raised myself in a lot of ways. So, I don't know, my childhood was really, I love my childhood. My teenage years were interesting to say the least. So like sometimes I don't really think about being a teenager that much, but it is weird what you do as a teenager and how you think those are the most important years of your life. You're like, oh, nothing's ever going to change from when I'm like this and how I'm feeling and all that. It's like, oh man, you were just a little baby when you're a teenager. You don't know anything about
No.
life.
Definitely. To my point though about not remembering the girl on the phone's name, what do you like with people's names of guys like people you went to school with and like high school, primary school?
High school, I can remember. I couldn't think of them off the top of my head, but if you showed me a picture of someone, for the most part, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's such and such, or that's this girl, that's this guy. I'm pretty good with that kind of stuff, to be completely honest. It honestly leaves my thoughts in my brain, but if someone says something that just automatic, I will pick it up pretty. My memory's pretty good, especially of being a teenager. Not so much being a kid. There's certain things I remember, but being a teenager, I kind of remember. Well, I think I kind of remember pretty vividly. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, so like me and my girlfriend we found a box of old school photos of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember one person in any
Oh.
of them. Like no recollection of them at all. And like some of the people I went to high school with, I've still got on like social media, so I'd recognize them just from stuff that they post or whatever. But like anything before that, like pre-social media, not one person. Like even looking at their faces and seeing their
Wow.
names, I couldn't remember anything about them. My mum was like,
Whoa.
yeah, no, you remember this person. It's such and such. They did this and this. I'm like, I have no recollection of that at all.
Wow.
Like,
Do you just try to suppress it, or is it more so?
I actually don't know. Like, I really, there's lots of things like that. Like, I don't ever remember if I have dreams or not. Like, at night, I never remember a dream. Like, ever.
Oh.
I don't know if I have dreams. I have dreams
Oh,
and aspirations, but
I not always, and I'm sure there's been multiple times where I can't remember, but I used to do this thing. I got into a time in my life, a few years back where I was like, oh, my nana was always really spiritual. She always was like, those nanas that read fucking cards and shit, and you're like,
yeah.
whoa. Yeah, like, and I was always not necessarily one to be like froth it and believe it, but I liked it. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily give into it, but I'm like, there's something kooky and really stupid about this that I really am into. So there was a time in my life for a very short period of time where I'm like, let's see what I can unlock in my brain when I get into this. And if I dreamt and woke up, I would write down my dreams because a lot of the time I can think of them right when I wake up, like a lot of us, and then we forget them. So I would write it down. Like even if I woke up at 4 a.m, pen and paper or my phone was next to my bed and I would write it or put it in my notes and just literally just whatever's in my brain, I'd just write down and then I'd go back to sleep and then wake up and try and decipher it. It didn't really work in the way that I thought it was going to be, like underlying message, like there's something in my dreams that is like happening. It was just honestly a lot of my dreams end up being, I still have like the papers and papers that I wrote down for so many months. A lot of it was just like really stupid random stuff that I'm sure if you put all together it might make sense in some weird way. But yeah, I'm depending on, it all depends on. So say if for some reason I'm like, I have a soft drink really late at night, I'll dream. Like what I eat and what I drink will make me dream because I feel like stuff does that to your brain. Yeah. Or if I'm really tired versus not very tired, or if I'm relaxed and going to sleep, or just my mood going into sleep. Because they always say you should never go to bed angry. You should never go to sleep angry. I actually believe that to a certain degree. So, yeah, or just what's going on, how hectic of a day I had. It all kind of depends on. I honestly can't remember the last time I had like a dream, but that just could be me just subconsciously not even remembering it. I don't know, but yeah, I would say that I'm someone that gets into that kind of stuff, I guess. But yeah, I do dream. I do dream. I just can't think of when the last time I did was, or if just forgotten.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've remembered a dream in like the last 5 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Can't relate.
No, so.
Weird question while we're talking about stuff of like, especially in high school, when you were doing, when you got to a certain stage in high school, you could pick your subjects and you could, kind of do what you wanted in high school. What were your like elective subjects? What were the ones where you were like, these are my subjects? Because I feel like I could, just by talking to you, I'd be like, I feel like I could kind of get an idea of what you picked in high school, but I could be wrong.
Take a guess. Because I'm trying to remember.
I don't know why, and I could be just taking a stab in the dark.
After year 10 as well, so I didn't really get to pick too many.
Okay, I did year 12 externally, so I did everything at home. But I did finish school. But I reckon you were like wood tech. No. Like that kind of. No? Okay. All right, I'm like wrong.
I'm terrible with my hands. Like I cannot build. I cannot do anything like that.
Me either.
No, that is not me at all. I think so. In year 10, we got to choose 2. I think. I know one of them was Indonesian, like language. Okay. Yeah.
You did language. Okay.
I don't know why Indonesian. I think Indonesian's the most pointless school language ever.
Yeah, I did French in primary school and then did Japanese in high school.
Yeah.
But I didn't choose that. That was in like year 8.
I've always wanted to learn Spanish. I did start learning Spanish on my own a year or so ago. And I don't know. I knew a little bit.
It's hard to learn another language.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
language
did language. Did you do like geography, history, something like that? I feel like something where you would use your brain, because I feel like you are kind of brainy.
Yeah. So me at high school was a whole thing, right? So when I was in year 6 and 7, when I was in year 6, I started working on the year 8 maths book, because I was so far advanced of that none of it was piquing my interest. Yeah. And then when I was in year 7, I was a year ahead, so I did year 9. Then when I got to year 8 and 9, they didn't have the same ability, like the capabilities or anything like that, to cater for me in a way. So I became really bored And then all of a sudden, I'd already done it all. So there's no need to learn this anymore. So got distracted by like social sides and stuff like that because it just wasn't, what's the word? It wasn't interesting because I knew.
Wasn't challenging, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't challenging. I didn't want to say
Yeah.
I knew it all, but like I'd done that, so it wasn't a challenge at all. Like when it comes to maths and stuff, I taught myself year 12 calculus in like 2 nights by reading a textbook to like tutor someone while I was in uni. So stuff like that, when it came to like year 8 and 9 maths, I was like, this is quite boring.
So you were good at maths. So were you good at science?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because that kind of goes hand in hand.
But
were
again,
you, so then,
boring.
But then where was... Yeah, sure. But where was yours? So if you're good at math... Usually, there's always one area if you're excelling and you're not good in the other. Were you not good at, like, English?
No, I was fine at English. Probably not the best.
Okay.
I was quite well-rounded. Like,
Okay.
it just sounds so wanky saying it like this. But
No,
like,
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
So, after I finished year 7 down here in Adelaide, my mum got a teaching job in Port Augusta. So
Port Augusta.
we moved up to Port Augusta, and I started high school in a brand new school where I didn't know anybody. And it was a small town, so everybody knew everyone except I didn't know anyone. So I was sort of...
You were that kid.
Yeah, and so like my first day, the principal of mum's school's daughter was the year above me. So he's like, oh, she'll meet you here and take you on the bus and show you around and stuff like that. 'Cause she was a sweet principal's daughter. Turns out once the bus got there, she was not the sweet principal's daughter anymore. She was a slapper.
Okay. Right
so
on.
she left me for dead. And I was like so terrified. Like I really didn't have a growth spurt until I was from about the age of 10 to 18. I was very short. Like on my 18th birthday, friends of mine that were a bit older seen a picture of me at school and thought it was my reception photo, but it was my year 7 photo.
Oh my God.
So I was like tiny, didn't know anyone, a little bit terrified. So I was like, right, I'm just going to knuckle down and I'm just going to study everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so my report card after the first year was like basically A for everything, but like maybe a B plus for English. So it wasn't the greatest, but like compared to everything else, it looked small. But then I went to a new school and it was like, I moved back down to Adelaide with Dad and went to a school where I found the social side, and all of a sudden my A's became C's and E's and D's, and because it was so boring to me because I'd done it all. But like, yeah, since then I've gone to university just off of like being able to do it. Like I've done part of a teaching degree, and I was like, nah, not for me. So I started a mechanical engineering degree. But that, I mean, I could have finished it, but I didn't love it. And so I was with my ex at the time. We just had Rory, and it was like, she's like, you chose to study. You've got to do it in your own time. You've got to help me with everything else. So at the time, I was studying full-time, working full-time, had a newborn. So I was waking up at 4 a.m., studying for 2 hours, getting ready for work, going to work for 9 hours, coming home, and then she would make me cook dinner and like have Rory while she got to do her own stuff because she had him all day. And then would like yell at me when I didn't do the dishes afterwards or something. So it was like really eating me up, and like she was like, you know, she wouldn't like watching what I like to watch. So like if I wanted to do that, I'd have to do it after she went to bed. So like now I'm up from 4 a.m. basically on straight away. My mind's on because I'm doing university calculus, physics, stuff like that. So it's not like it's
No,
a
thank
lecture
you.
that you can just sit there and listen to. I'm like actually having to like, okay, think about it. I'd get home exhausted, and then I just started to like, I pretty much had a mental breakdown. Like, anyway, I started to lose a lot of weight. I think I nearly lost like 20 kilos.
Oh, God.
Because I just wasn't eating, and I wasn't, but, so like yeah, I don't know where my point went here. But yeah, school and that was never, a big thing for me, because I was like, I can do this. It doesn't matter. Like, I can just learn it. It's fine.
I'm glad you had that experience. I was math. I barely passed. Like, I had nice teachers I was on the cusp of failing, and they were like, "We like him. We'll just bump his grade up that small percent so he passes." Horrible at math. Like, could never get it. Like, never understood it. Tried hard and just could not get it. For some reason, I was okay at like. I would nearly get there, but then my answer just wouldn't match up with what I was doing. Like, I was that, and I tried really hard. I was good at English at school. Creative writing, all that kind of stuff comes very easy to me. I'm probably not going to be surprised by this, but my elective subject where I aced it was drama and music.
I
Performing
think
arts.
I did drama.
I was very good at drama.
That's the one. The other one I did language and drama.
So I was that kid that was like how you said with math, where it was just like, like this isn't hard to me. I could go into drama class with my eyes closed, my ears shut, still ace the theory, and very easily ace and crush the practical side of drama. That was not difficult to me at all. But it was really the only subject out of all of school where it just come very natural to me. Everything else I had to like really, really, really try. Drama was not that for me. Anything they wanted me to do, I could do it. Like they would be like, do this role, and I could do it. I was the kid in plays. I could do musicals. I could do all of that. I was that kid. I was the drama idiot at school because I just knew how to do it. Music also was pretty easy to me. But then you get me in a classroom for math or science or psychology. For some reason, I liked geography, but was really, really, really awful at it. But I liked it. Those were my kind of subjects at school. And trust me, if I didn't have drama or music, I don't think I would have stayed at school and got my high school certificate, because there was no point of me being at school other than that, because I just didn't like it. I was like, I don't learn very well I learn better one-on-one than I do in like a class full of people, because I get a little bit of social anxiety. So I'd be like, even if they think I'd know the answer, I was too afraid to even speak my part, because I was like, what about if it's wrong? And then that all starts. But drama was just the one place where I didn't feel that anxiety. Like on a stage in front of lots of people, that isn't very difficult to me. Like, a lot of people are afraid of public speaking. That's like a night out on the town for me.
Yeah.
Like I get like a good nervous for it. It's not like a terrified nervous. It's like, oh, this is like butterflies in your tummy. Like, I think it's because I'm that kid. I was that kid at school that would walk into a room and be like, hey, everyone, look at me. But then when people looked at me, I was like, oh, I got nothing important to say. I just wanted you to, look around for one. I was always that kid, and I still do it now. I like to make jokes. I like to have a laugh. I was like that at high school, and I think in drama, that personality and that side of you is kind of like what they want. They want people to be like, hey, look at me, like give me all the attention, and kind of just adapt to the setting. So I was really good at that kind of stuff with drama. Very good at like thinking on my feet. We used to do these things in drama where it was basically like improv, like especially like year 11, like when you would start to actually, it wasn't just all about like, let's do the Wizard of Oz. It was actually like starting to be like, let's actually use your brain here and see what you can offer. And we used to do like improv stuff. And that was the most thrilling. Like, I wish I could still do that in some capacity now, of just like, I can just think on your, like thank God you're here type stuff. We used to
Yeah.
do that at school where you would have, and any situation I could 9 times out of 10, I would just think of something ridiculous to go with. And it was just, I don't know, that stuff is so easy to me. But if you put me in like a book in front of me and I have to like, and I don't know what to, like, I literally, my brain just shuts off. I know some people will probably think like a lot of people that's like being dumb, but I'm just like, no, I just think there's different
Yeah.
areas of you. I'm like the creative side of things. Like I can write a story. Give me 15 minutes with a pen and paper and I can write you a story.
Yeah.
I'm just good at that kind of stuff. And again, not being, like you said, I'm not trying to be
Yeah, no,
dickhead,
it feels like
cocky, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could still do that to this day. I probably could if I really, even like with content and stuff like this, like not everyone does this kind of stuff. And that's just the creative part of my brain, like coming through. And I still have that kid inside of me that's just like, let's do this kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it feels weird. I don't know why I went down that uni talk where it got really dark, out of nowhere. I don't know.
Fine by me.
I guess I better answer what I used to be really into
yeah.
as a kid. I think for me, it's always been comedy. Comedy's been like something I've always been, in a way, a little bit obsessed with. Like a stand-up comic, a comedy show, Leno and Woodley were.
You used to, I feel like we could probably get along with this. Did you used to like Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, back in the day,
Yeah,
very much back
so
in the
did
day.
I.
Yeah.
So did I, yeah.
So, yeah, like your Leno and Woodley's, Adam Hill's Tripod back in the day. Trying to think of some other ones. And now it's sort of been something that I've taken through life. I love going to a stand-up comedy show. I love a good comedy, anything like your Taskmaster, your Thank God You're Here. Have you been paying attention? It's my dream in life to get onto Have You Been Paying Attention.
Oh,
I feel like I could
show.
crush that. But
What's that show where she's on Have You Been Paying Attention? That New Zealand, the Kiwi girl, and she has that guy co-host, and they talk. It's on channel
Cheap Seats.
Yeah, that one. That one I really like too. I like that show a lot.
But yeah, so I just really love comedy. I just really like the thought of being able to make someone laugh, because you don't actually know what people are coming to that in a state of mind. And also I really enjoy, this is probably really a deep way to look at someone telling dick jokes or something on stage, but I really enjoy that you could walk into a room with, say, 100 people that you could not have anything in common with. Like, you could literally walk in there with an elderly woman, a 15-year-old girl, and a priest, I don't know, and all laugh at the same thing.
Yeah. Laughter is something that every human shares.
Yeah. So I just really like the fact that, and I mean, I've got it tattooed on me. I just think that life's better when you laugh.
I agree. I love laughing.
So,
As a person, we've talked about like our again, we're getting weird and deep and but like as people that have we've talked about the fact that we're like, we suffer from our own shit. I just find sometimes even when you're feeling like that, it's okay to still laugh and it's okay to still make a joke. Like, I'm that person that will make a joke about that thing that you're like, should you joke? I'm like, no, I'm gonna make that joke. It's there. It's low hanging fruit, and I'm gonna take it. I just feel like it's just, I don't know. You could die tomorrow. You may as well have some fun.
Oh, definitely. And like, the thing I love about comedy is like, if I've had a tough day at work or if I've had whatever going on, a comedy is just lighthearted. You don't have to think about it. You can just sit down, turn it on, and just laugh a little bit instead of like thinking about anything too deeply with a big drama or anything like that.
And I froth a drama, trust me. Like, I still get into stuff that I'm like, I can really just get involved in this. But like, there's nothing better than just like, even the comedies that are dumb where you don't have to think about it too. You're just like, just make me smile. And
That's the point
I
of it
don't know.
for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be deep and meaningful. It doesn't need to be. It's like just a distraction, just to, switch off a little bit. And you know what? Like some of my favorite comedians, like Joel Creasy is one of my favorites all time. I see him all the time when he comes to Adelaide. His stuff isn't clever, as in like it's not going to teach you anything. It's not groundbreaking like political views. It's just dumb and trashy, and it's funny. It doesn't need to be clever to be funny. Like, I would much rather go and listen to him rag on celebrities for an hour than, like, have to worry about the issues of the world.
I don't think people will probably like who I like as a stand-up comedian because this person can get a little problematic sometimes. But I've always really liked Chelsea Handler.
Okay.
I always have. I don't know why. Yes, she can be kind of a bit trashy, but I just find her funny sometimes because she makes the joke that I don't know. I'm not saying it's okay to save some of her views make some jokes, but for the majority of stuff, I'm just like, just make the joke. It's fine. Like it's funny. I've always kind of liked her. I don't know why. It's just someone I've gravitated towards too. I've never been to a stand-up.
Really?
No.
We've got to go Fringe time.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I've never even been to the Fringe.
Oh my goodness me.
And I live an hour away from Adelaide, and I've never been to the Fringe.
You've got to come down to Adelaide during Fringe time, and we'll go to the Garden and go see a comedy show because they're great fun.
Right on.
They're just fun, like.
There's been a lot of things in life that I've never done that everyone else has just done at least once. Like, I've never done that. Weirdly enough, not everyone does this, but at some point in their life, I'm sure they do. I've never seen any form of strippers, whether that be man or woman. I've never been to a strip club.
It's not great.
I couldn't imagine it would, but as me, I feel like I would enjoy female strippers because I would be like, this isn't the grottiness of it. It's just like...
Yeah.
I don't know, but like as a gay person, I've never been to a gay club. You've been to a gay bar, and I've never been to a gay club, and I am gay. That is weird to me. Like there's been a lot of experiences in life that everyone else has just done, and I'm like, I just haven't done this. Like I went to my first wedding that I can remember. I know I went as a child, but to my first wedding 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, once you start getting older, they start getting weddings instead of...
True. True. Like, I've only ever been to, I've been to 2 funerals in my whole life.
Oh, that's lucky, though.
I didn't lose, a very close member of my family until 2021.
Gosh. See, that's...
Yeah,
that's
I
luck.
like... No, but then... Okay, I didn't want anyone in my family to die when I was younger, but I didn't know how I was going to cope with it because I didn't have any experience of reference to be like, how do I deal with death?
Yeah.
It was just like a weird feeling, and it wasn't what you expect it to be either because you always have it in your brain, especially being 25 at the time and being like, how am I going to cope with this kind of death? I guess I'll just be sad. I'm like, oh, that's not really how it is. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So like things like that, like it's just I didn't experience a lot in life until much later.
No, okay.
Not everything. I won't say everything, and not get your mind out of the gutters, guys. But yeah, I didn't do a lot until I didn't have my first drink of alcohol until I was 19.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is
I went
wild.
To I mean, I maybe had my first at 16 or 17. But then stopped cold when I was 20 for about 7 years. I don't think I drank at all for about...
Did you purposely, I'm not going to drink, or did you just
didn't?
You just went, I haven't drank in a while.
No, I don't usually anyway. Maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker either, but...
But yeah, I went
7
years. I was like, nah, I'm not going to drink. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. There's just a lot of things, and I guess I just didn't do until late. Like, I didn't step foot in my first nightclub until I was 21.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just didn't do a lot of things as a kid. Well, not a, you know, you can't call it a nightclub. But even 18 is a kid, you know what I mean. But yeah, just I don't really know why that is. I just didn't, weirdly enough.
Nah, I mean,
but now I'm too old to do any of those things anyway. So I'm like, I'm just gonna stay home.
but we're definitely going to the Fringe in March then.
All right.
And then bowling. We've got to do bowling soon because I want to see that one.
God, you will probably not like me after bowling arcade. Let's play a game of Mario Kart in there. You'll probably hate me after that too.
The bowling alley around near me's got like Mario Kart as an arcade game, so we could get.
You see me punch screens or punch you. I might even punch myself. I don't know really, but then if I win, it's much worse than if I lose because I will rub it in. Oh no, anyone in my vicinity, I'm like, I won. Like I'm like that piece of crap that's just like, yeah. But I love bowling. I love that kind of. I love like all like the like activities that everyone's just like, okay, it's so cliche. Bowling, arcades. I love going to the zoo. I love like.
Have you been to
going
a
to
golf
like an
simulator?
No.
Oh, I love.
Are they those ones where you're like, it's like the screen and they like, yeah, because there's like golf and there's like there's like cricket simulators and stuff like that too. Yeah,
there's one around here that's like, it's got golf, but it's also got like, you can throw footballs and kick footballs at it, and it's got goals and whatever. That one's a bit of fun. But,
yeah, hell yeah, putt golf. I love putt. Like I love all that kind of really just. A lot of people probably like, that is just the most like average crap in the world, but I love that crap. I love it.
Yeah. I do too, but I'm not as competitive. I just like doing it. It's just fun to me.
I wish I have fun. I do have fun. I have great fun. And you have great fun with me. It's just, there's a point that it hits and you're like, maybe it's time to wrap it up, you know? Like, and I'm like, okay, that's good. That's fine by me. Let's not talk in the car for the next 10 minutes and then I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Apples to oranges, as they say.
Comparing apples to oranges. That's as good a way as we've found to finish so far, I guess.
Don't worry, it'll the finish, and then it will just keep talking for some reason. It will just be like, what is going on here? Let's end this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a good spot to end. Check the socials, all of our socials.
Please,
check the links. Go,
please
follow Josh on Twitch and YouTube and everything else. And if you follow me, it might be boring, but.
I'm trying to get Ray to do more stuff on social media. Trust me, because I'm a social media hoe. I love being on social media, mainly just to feed my own ego, especially on TikTok. But I like that kind of stuff. So I said to Ray, I'm like, we need to. I messaged him earlier this week, and I was like, let's get you on at least our account, and let's have some fun here.
Yes,
I'm always doing stuff on X. Twitter.
X, the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, so follow us on there. I'll try and make a point of being on there a bit more.
I'm trying to get... Should we get... I don't think my cat has made an appearance on this platform yet. She is always on my Twitch because I use her for clout. Giddy, do you want to come say hello before we go? She's looking at me. You know that cat thing where they stare at you and they're like, I'm going to jump up. I'm going to jump up. Come here. I want to use you for clout. Everyone say hello to... This is my cat, Giddy. She is a piece of shit. I love her, but she is... As you can tell, she's very happy to be here if you're watching on YouTube. She is my roommate, really. I gave birth to her. She's my biological daughter. As someone who doesn't have children, she is my child.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't care about me. Anyway,
one day I'll use my child as clout and I'll get him on here.
Yeah, please do.
But
I'll give him a high five. I'm not great around kids, but great around kids, but I'm good with kids. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I get uncomfortable, but everyone's like, you're fine around kids. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not having a good time at all.
Oh,
I don't know what to talk to them about. They're kids.
no,
It's just like,
I know. Just anything.
and then they sneeze and they cough and you're like,
Yeah.
back up.
Correct.
Cool. On that note.
All right. Speak to you next week. Or y'all. I don't know. That sounded very country.